안녕하세요. Tasha입니다. Hi everyone, my name is Tasha, and as many of my peers already know, I'm absolutely in love with K-pop, in case you couldn't tell. However, it seems like whenever I tell people this, I always get one universal reaction. K-pop? What's K-pop? And once I explain that, I usually get, why? This why is usually accompanied by an odd look or an, ew, are you serious expression? So, I decided that for my personal project, I'd break down exactly why I love K-pop, and everything that goes with it. Okay, so first things first. What is K-pop? Well, K-pop in the literal sense stands for Korean pop or Korean music. I'm sure everyone has heard Gangnam Style by now, sung by famous Korean artist Psy. If you haven't, you clearly have no working radio or TV or other modern appliance, which, I mean, what can I say? To each their own, right? While this song is an example of K-pop, it's not an accurate representation of its parent genre at all. Gangnam Style is a very silly video, intended to poke fun at high-class citizens. While it's a great stress reliever and something fun to show your friends, it's an outlier. Most K-pop is very similar to American music, minus drugs, sex, and alcohol, in that it has awesomely crafted beats, lyrics, rhythm, and more. Take a look! 맘속에 고여 있는 그 모든 걱정들 내려놔 우리 노래가 모든 걸 다 잊게 만들어줄 거야. 자 일어나 모두 자리에서 망설이지 말고 서 나를 바라보고 서서 내 음악에 맞춰서 다 미쳐봐 자 준비됐으면 이제 달려볼게. 나를 따라와.
Hey, hey. Stop, girl, in the name of love. Stop, girl, in the name of love. Stop, girl, in the name of love. 꿈은 아닐 거야. No, your love isn't real. 터져나오는 쟁반 누가 뭐라건 so what 이게 너와 나의 차이라고. 터져나오는 쟁반 멈출 때까지 can't stop. 꼭 깨져봐야 아픈 줄 알지. 그래서 네가 거기까지란 거야. 벌써부터 배워보고 show me shit. 벌써부터 갖다 버린 friendship. 그래 어디 가서 자랑해. 나쁜 건 또 누구보다 빨리 배워줄 shit. 발끝까지 너와 단둘이 마지막에 파일 Put it up, girl. You be 달라, 난 달라. take it all I like it. I like it. 뭔가 달라, 넌 달라. take it all I like it. I like it. Electric shock. Electric shock. 점점 전류들이 몸에 타고 흘러다녀. 기절할 듯 아슬아슬 찌릿찌릿. 충분해 네 사랑이 fantastic, baby. Dance. I wanna dance, 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 dance. Fantastic, baby. Dance. I wanna dance, 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 dance. Fantastic, baby. Boom shakalaka, boom shakalaka, boom shakalaka. Dance, 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 dance. Shakalaka, boom shakalaka, boom shakalaka.
지나가는 너를 맡겨봐 내 가슴에 불을 지펴봐 정말보다 좀 더 빠르게 내 가슴에 파고 들어가 목을 조여간다 Get down, get down, get down. Wow, 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 wow. Get down, get down. 기나긴 싸움에 목이 마른 그대들을 위해 날리는 펀치 서로가 다르고 눈을 가리고 그 말이고 무지한 사람들 말이고 심장에 우리는 내 말이 내가 다르냐 화가 난 이대로 내버린 잔소리 이 실들을 위한 기도 가려진 시스템 검은 그림자가 위로 대표도 굴하지 않는 신성한 배지 What's the name of the game? BAP
I got a boy 멋진 I got a boy 착한 I got a boy handsome boy 내 맘 다 가져간 I got a boy 멋진 I got a boy 착한 I got a boy awesome boy 완전 반했나봐
숨이 멎을 것만 같아 사랑이 온 것만 같아 모르겠어 모르겠어
Drop it on my beauty 못할게 You 춤 좀 all like a rocket On my beauty 못할게 You 춤 좀 all like a rocket I like it like it like it I like it like it like it I like it like it like it 숨을 곳도 찾지 못한 나는 피하려고만 쏟아도 거부조차 할 수 없는 내게 갇혀버린 사랑이었다면 정말 사랑했던 거라면 내게 이러지는 마라 Always bounce from myself 나를 묵묵하둔다면 사랑도 묶인 채 미래도 묶인 채 커질 수 없는데 자유롭게 비워놓고 바라봐 오직 너만 채울게 너만 가득 채울게 거부할 수 없는 너의 마력은 Lucifer 거부할 수 없는 너의 마법은 Lucifer 다가서면 너는 마치 천사 같은 얼굴로 나를 사는 이유라 말하고 말하고
모두 다 함께 Travel like this 내가 stop 자 흔들어봐
But I'm Mr. Simple Simple 그때는 못 잡아 But I'm Mr. Simple Simple 그때는 예뻐서 짧고 But I'm Mr. Simple Simple 그때는 맞춰 But I'm Mr. Simple Simple 그때는 예뻐서 짧고 가짜 어서 가자 막혔을 땐 보다 가자 골치 아파주게 가면 얼굴은 놀고 보자 안 그래도 거친 세상 주먹다기면 나만 잡자 기다려봐 아껴둬봐 나의 나 입고 볼 테니까 애원해주길 바래 난 기다릴게 이제나 저제나 날 떠나지마 말라고만 해 너만 나면 내 맘을 정할 때까지 너만 본다 난 보내주마 애원해주길 바래 난 기다릴게 이제나 저제나 날 떠나지마 말라고만 해 바보 내가 왜 너를 사랑했겠니 너밖에 없어 보내주마 We got the power I got the power 그 앞에 불하지만 넌 더
K-pop is in a literal sense, let's break up the individual parts of what makes K-pop more than just a music genre. In order for you to understand why I love it so much, I think it's a good idea for you to first understand what goes on behind the scenes. By that I mean this. K-pop is just a word. On its own it means nothing. What means something to us, K-pop fans, is the people who make up the world of K-pop, the K-pop idols. These are the people who we watch grow from rookie groups into some of the most popular bands in Korea. The people who we laugh with, cry with, and love unconditionally. But I don't expect you to understand why we feel this way without first understanding where these shining stars come from. So, with that, let's start at the beginning, the debut process. So, the debut process. To be honest, there is a lot to talk about in the debut process of a K-pop star. One thing you have to understand is that while the music of Korea is very similar in the basics of beat, rhythm, lyrics, etc., the music industry is severely different. Unlike here in America, where many singers get their starts through lucky breaks on the radio or random scouts that result in success, potential K-pop stars can't even begin their difficult journey in the industry for at least 4 years after they're discovered. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me back up. Let's say you're a young teen living in Korea who thinks they've got a pretty good voice. Great. So what? What do? Well, if you're like the thousands of other people who dream the same dream, gaining success, money, and being loved by all, then you go to an audition. Now, idol auditions are held at many entertainment companies in Korea, but to save time, we'll just talk about the 3 biggest. The 3 largest entertainment companies in Korea are SM Entertainment, YG Entertainment, and JYP Entertainment. Now, you get up at 6 a.m. to go stand in line at one of SM Entertainment's weekly auditions. Provided you can tough out the hours and hours of waiting outside in who knows what kind of weather, while the people ahead of you trickle in slowly for their walk-in auditions, you'll be presented with what could be more hours of waiting once you get in. Fast forward your audition, there's a less than 10% chance you'll be accepted, especially considering they get thousands of auditionees a week, and you sometimes have to go through more than one audition before you're confirmed. If you are one of the lucky people who get accepted, then you become what is officially called a trainee. However, this is no reason to breathe a sigh of relief. The life of a trainee is almost harder than the life of an idol itself. It comes with a rigorous practice schedule involving hours upon hours of dance practice, vocal training, lessons in manners, common etiquette, sex education, and more. Idol trainees are expected to go through at least 10 combined hours of vocal training and dance practice alone per day. On top of all of this, they're expected to maintain good grades and do well in their studies, since most trainees are in the early to middle years of their high school life when they join. Trainees are often housed at large dorms with other trainees or rivals, and can often be cut off from seeing their families simply because they're too busy. There's no time. Not to mention that the average trainee period is about 4 to 6 years. And there's not even a guarantee that you'll debut! Imagine that! Spending 4 to 6 years doing all of this, practicing for something that you're not even sure will happen. Park, the manager of famous boy band Beast at Cube Entertainment, explained, "When registering as a trainee with our company, the trainee makes an agreement with us that they will comply with a set of rules, along with an acknowledgement that we cannot guarantee when they will be able to make their debut as a full-fledged singer. No one knows how long it will take for one to end his or her traineeship. It actually depends on themselves." In all reality, less than half of all trainees accepted by a company will actually debut. A trainee can be dropped at any point in time by their company if they are not good enough. They perform for the company's president on a regular basis, who then points out their strengths and weaknesses. If not, trainees are dropped without a second chance. Jin Hyun from Beast commented, "You cannot get out of it either because you are so much in love and addicted to it, or because you know there can be no turning back once you've crossed the line. The cost is too high to give up halfway because there would be so many things that you've given up to do this. For example, your normal school life and quality time that could be spent with your beloved family and friends." Another example of trainee hardship is JYJ member Jaejung's story. Jaejung left his family when he was only 15 years old to go and pursue his dreams in Seoul. He participated in an SM audition and was allowed to begin classes under the company. However, Jaejung had to pay for his own classes, and without his family's support, he had to take on various jobs such as working at a restaurant, construction work, and delivering newspapers. He used his wages to pay for his lessons first, before putting aside money for clothing and food. Finally, Jaejung was allowed to debut as the oldest in a group of 5 boys, destined for greater levels of success than any group before them. Now, the reason I wanted to explain some of this is because I want you to understand where these people come from. These idol stars are not groups of detached people that we know nothing about. They are real human beings, people with feelings, people who suffer and cry and bleed for years in order to achieve their dreams. They must literally fight for the right to debut as an idol star, trying to beat out hundreds of their peers who may or may not be more talented than themselves while battling constant emotional and physical stress. And this is only the debut process. After debuting, it's hardly smooth sailing. Rookie idols are forced to take on schedules that lead them to the brink of exhaustion and lack of sleep. Why? Companies know that in order to make the group more famous, they have to appear in almost every variety show, perform at all 3 major music programs, and guest on radio shows to promote their songs. Unfortunately, it isn't a rarity anymore to hear in the news that an idol has been sent to the hospital for excessive fatigue. Even after you establish your name in the industry, you never really get any rest. And the number of days that you do finally have freedom are so limited that sometimes the only way you can reach your family is through a quick phone call. In fact, the most common complaint that an idol would give is that they rarely get to see their family, and thus miss them so much it hurts. However, for them, in the end, all the hard work and pain is worth it, because they've worked hard for it. Junhyung from Beast commented, "There is no such thing as a daily routine for us. We get up at daybreak when our schedule begins early in the morning, but sometimes we start the day after the sun goes down if we had an all-night schedule the night before." Ki Kwang, also from Beast, mentioned, "What makes us keep going during the killer schedule is all the time and effort we have put in to get here. Considering what we have been through, we cannot simply give it away." So why am I telling you all this? Am I trying to depress you? Well, no, of course not. Like I mentioned, I just want you to understand where these people come from. Korea's music industry really is different from our own, but it's by no means negative or depressing. It's actually kind of incredible. For instance, you heard me mention that K-pop idols perform at 3 major music programs each week. However, there's actually way more than 3. The biggest ones are Inkigayo, M Countdown, Music Bank, Show Champion, and Music Core. You're probably wondering, what are music programs? Well, music programs are live performances at broadcasting stations where idols go each week to perform their new songs. When a group releases an album, they have what's called a title song. It's one song off their album that they choose to promote once a week per music program for a promotional period of about 1 to 2 months. Fans wake up at the crack of dawn every day to go stand in line in the hopes of being able to see their bands perform live. K-pop groups will usually perform at each of the programs I listed, unless the company chooses otherwise. Since each program is on a different day of the week, this means they perform their song live at least 3 to 5 times each week. Now, when I say they perform their song, I don't mean they just stand on stage and sing it. In Korea, a group must be more than just vocally talented. They must possess strong dance skills as well, since almost all idol songs are choreographed. And let me tell you, some of this choreography is amazing. But don't take my word for it. See for yourself.
어디서부터 시작됐는지 그게 중요한 게 아니야. 지금 내 눈엔 너무 완벽한 네 모습만 보이는걸. 회색빛 이 세상에 네 입술만 붉게 빛나. 입을 맞추려던 그 순간 꿈에서 깨네. 아직도 네 얼굴이 이렇게 생생한데, 잡았던 손의 온기가 이렇게 따스한데, 밤이면 내게 다가와 그쯤이 되면 사라져. 매일 이렇게 똑같이 너를 보낼 순 없는데, 모두 꿈인 걸 알지만 제발 날 떠나지 마라. 손을 잡을 듯 잡히지 않는 매일 밤이 순간도 내게 눈을 뗄 수 없어 그것도 표현도 너한테는 뺄 수 없어 머리부터 발끝까지 그대 원해 only girl 하나부터 백까지 부질없게 대하지 그대가 날 택하는 날의 이 세상 손에 잡힐 듯 잡히지 않으니까 매일 밤이 이렇게 널 기다려니까 달콤한 사랑을 속삭이고 사랑을 속삭여 손에 잡힐 듯 잡히지 않으니까 매일 밤이 이렇게 널 기다려니까 우리의 사랑을 기억하고 있네 기쁨에 찾아온 dream girl.
Now, besides these artists' amazing performances and hectic schedules, the actual music of K-pop is perhaps the most incredible of all. Most K-pop songs have messages in them, something I personally don't hear much of anymore in mainstream American music. The lyrics in some songs talk about things like societal oppression, bullying, and never giving up, while others deliver more feel-good messages like always be strong, stay true to yourself, and, of course, the usual love songs. I'll play you a quick clip of English lyric videos from a few of my favorites.
너인 길을 막고 입을 막고 네 배 채우기 바쁘다 뺏어가며 roll 대가고 마리처럼 cool 권력 너희들은 안 변하는 world yeah 운치가 때가 됐어 강자와 약자가 판을 부수는 또 형님 이건 개라니까 flow 그러니까 모두 keep it up
더는 없어 정의는 없어 돈 앞에 다 굴복하는 세상이야 힘 있는 자의 그늘에 힘없는 자는 죽는다 아니야 no 정말 이건 아니야 내가 왔어 우리가 왔어 Step We got the power I got the power 그 앞에 불하지만 넌 그러지마다 고개 들어라 We got the power 그에 맞서 싸워 천사의 얼굴로 날 쳐다보지마
Everybody say
Hey Jude
one more say
Hey Jude
Everybody say
Hey Jude
one more say
뻔한 빛을 가린 자들이 부리는 휘고 정말 빼들어 닮은 개들은 매개 식을 찍고 진한 감각을 속에 맞서 싸우는 게 내 ego 날 맞춰 들어박힌 것들은 너무도 버리게 밝게 부셔 Wow 이젠 움직일 시간이 됐어 못된 drop action 우리 이 세상에 새바람을 일으켜 나 따라와 저리 비켜 우린 약한 자들이 있어 passion 시간 됐어 시간 됐어 악한 자만 살아남는 세상이야 뒷 위에 나와 웃는 얼굴로 어린 영혼들이 짓밟는다 아니야 no 정말 이건 아니야 내가 왔어 우리가 왔어 Step We got the power I got the power 그 앞에 불하지만 넌 그러지마다 고개 들어라 We got the power 그에 맞서 싸워 천사의 얼굴로 날 쳐다보지마 거짓말이다
Everybody say
Hey Jude
one more say
Hey Jude
Everybody say
Hey Jude
one more say
some of these songs. However, I almost skimmed over a very important part, the language barrier. The main reason that most people can't get into K-pop. I personally don't understand this. I mean, I get that you like to listen to music with lyrics you can understand, but I don't know. I never know what to tell people who give me that excuse, that they just don't like it because it sounds like they're talking gibberish. I feel like saying, excuse me? Have you heard our generation lately? Half the time it doesn't even sound like we speak English, you know? Besides, K-pop isn't actually devoid of English. As a matter of fact, most songs will have several English lines in them. This is because people in Korea actually start learning English as a required language from the early years of school all the way until they graduate. It's considered that if you can speak English, your music is automatically cooler. So I've told you about the hard life of a trainee, the crazy schedule, the amazing lyrics, the awesome choreography, and describe some of the industry. But there's still a few more things that I want to talk to you about yet before you'll understand the whole idea of why K-pop is so amazing to me. Another reason would be the interaction between the stars and the fans. K-pop artists have many more interactions with the fans than American artists do. For instance, in Korea, when an idol goes to a broadcast station to get ready to perform, they actually get out of the car a little ways down the sidewalk, and fans can come up beside them and talk to them as they walk to the doors. They also hold fan meetings and fan signings, where they all sit at a long table and fans are permitted to go get albums and other group merchandise signed. Granted, it's fast, and you can't say much more than a, "Hi, how are you?" But it's still better than nothing. For most fans, the chance to meet their favorite star is a dream come true. Alright, I'm almost done, and I applaud you if you've stayed with me this far. There's just so much I want to talk about, you know? There's so many reasons why I love K-pop. It'd be impossible to cover them all. I mean, through K-pop, I've learned more about the Korean culture as well. I've learned more about how people act in public, more about respect. I've even learned some Korean words and phrases. Non-K-pop fans always seem to think that K-pop is some distant form of music and culture that no one listens to or has access to. But it's not! Sites like All K-pop, DK-pop News, Soompi, and more provide around 50 or so articles a day talking about what's going on in the K-pop world, all translated in English for us international fans. In the more recent years, K-pop has been invading countries all over the world. Its advancement into the global market has been more phenomenal than I think anyone realizes. I'll give you a few examples. In an article written for the New York Times by Cho Sang-hoon and Mark Russell, they stated, when bands like 2NE1, Super Junior, and SHINee hold concerts in Europe and the United States, tickets sell out within minutes, and fans have used Facebook and Twitter to organize flash mobs, demanding more shows as they did in Paris in May. K-pop now has its own channel on YouTube, and videos by bands like Girls' Generation have topped 60 million views. Girls' Generation signed with Interscope Records to release the group's latest album in the United States last autumn, and made its American television debut on David Letterman's Late Show in January of 2012. The R&B singer Jay Park's songs and albums have hit #1 on the R&B Soul chart on iTunes in the United States, Canada, and Denmark since 2010. The Wonder Girls made a TV movie for the Teen Nick cable channel in the United States. Several of BAP's songs have hit #1 on Germany's Asian music charts, and also topped Taiwan's G-Music K-chart for 5 weeks in a row. Their most recent song, One Shot, beat out international names to grab the #1 spot on the iTunes Top 10 Hip-Hop Albums chart in the US, Canada, and New Zealand, and landed in the top 10 in the UK, Australia, Greece, Sweden, Norway, Japan, and Finland. But perhaps the most large-scale example I can give is KCON! KCON happened back in October 2012 in Irvine, California. According to the official website, KCON is the first ever large-scale convention dedicated to the hottest entertainment coming out of Korea, including K-pop, K-drama, and Korean movies. The event was produced by Mnet. KCON is a full-day event ranging from autograph signing sessions and celebrity panels to contests and fan workshops, aimed at everyone from the super fan of K-pop and K-drama to those ready to be initiated into the global Korean wave. KCON hopes to establish an annual flagship event that will improve the American fan experience by providing an affordable way for them to connect with each other as well as artists and professionals in the K-pop industry. Unfortunately, I was one of the many people who weren't able to go, but the convention got positive reviews from sites like The Verge, Billboard, and more. Thousands of international and domestic fans flocked to KCON in order to see their favorite stars. proving once again the popularity of K-pop. Simon and Martina, who run the online blog Eat Your Kimchi out of their home in Seoul, South Korea, said, "K-pop is not just a song or genre, it's an entire culture. You're really getting involved in a community of people. They all like the same band as you, and you all get to know the same thing, and it becomes a family of people. So that's why everyone is so passionate." I think passionate is definitely the right word to describe us K-pop fans, and I hope you've been able to see my passion for this amazing genre through this video. I know it was long, but I hope any non-K-poppers didn't suffer too much listening to me ramble. K-pop is just something I love. It's a lifestyle choice. K-pop fandoms are a family. It's like having brothers and sisters all over the world that you never knew you had. If this interests any of you first-timers at all, I'd strongly recommend that you check out K-pop. I promise you won't be disappointed. Look, light! Anyway, this is Vintasha signing off. Thank you for watching. 감사합니다. 안녕. Goodbye.